first thing that I had in my mind, what will be my introduction? Do I have a story? And a very conscious effort that I will not use any Mahabharat, Ramayana, ना ये जो cliche मतलब अशोका, बुद्धा, गांधी, I will not use that at all. जैसे introduction से conclusion तक लेके मतलब I will not use that. तो वो बहुत एक conscious effort you have to put in.
Couldn't think all points necessary on time, but after exam I could think good points. Sentences, construction or flow of thoughts also breaks.
So I think it mainly happens when there is lack of revision. So this year, one thing that I did consciously was more than writing or more than doing anything, मतलब content पढ़ाने की जगह in short कि जितना मेरे पास है, first I learn that thoroughly. जैसे citizenship notes है. If you think कि citizenship के, if you glance through, you find कि अच्छा इसमें सब कुछ cover हो रहा है, तो you just stick to it. Do not jump from one book to other because जो इसमें लिखा होगा citizenship का article change नहीं होगा, citizenship का act change नहीं होगा. It will be the same. Part 2 इसमें अगर लिखा है कि article 5 to 11 is citizenship, so if you're going to refer to other sources, उसमें भी same ही बात लिखी है. Is the introduction that I'm going to write. Relate from your this thing. What is the conclusion can I do from Right to Life? Is there any movie on it? Because Right to Life, there are a lot of movies also as far as I can recall. So is there any movie on it? Can I conclude with that? So just brainstorming is nothing but thinking. Hello everyone, this is Surabhi. I hope sir introduced me. I've secured All India rank 14 this year, and this was my 4th attempt. So before starting with the idea of note making, which is our main topic, I want to categorize students because I'm sure not everyone is writing mains this year, or is everyone writing? So if you could clarify. So note making is different for both because students who just started out and they're mainly beginners. Your ideal notes would not look like the way my notes are looking. These are very last minute and for the revision purpose notes because if you just read them, you'll not be able to understand कि लिखा क्या है. मतलब Lokpan and Lokayukt Act, what do I do with that? If you are a beginner, you'll not be able to realize कि what is this? What is 50% OBC SC ST? मतलब this is not for you. Your notes will look slightly elaborated for proper points. First, you need to understand, go through your basic resources, what the teacher is teaching, and you will make comparatively bigger notes. Your Lokpal notes would be like 2-pager notes mostly. This would be your second iteration or third iteration kind of a notes, and these are very last minute. These notes are ideal for people who are writing this year. And your notes, these will be like, if ideally I would tell you, those who are writing mains this year, you would divide your revision into 3 parts. First would be the longer duration, like if you're doing your polity, you will take at least 10 days. Polity में भी first part you'll take 5-6 days for polity. Governance एक दिन में या 2 दिन में कर लिया. एक दिन में mainly you should do governance. एक दिन you take for social justice. 2 days you take for IR. And this should be your first iteration of revision where you will read your base notes, the notes that you have made or the coaching material notes that you have referred to. If you're referring to Civilsdaily ka notes, you can refer to them and unko read karke try to shorten them, highlight them, try to learn them. Then in the second iteration, you will come to these. In the second iteration, when you're revising, you try to actively recall and brainstorm whatever you could recall, whatever points you could recall, and rest you make a note out of it, like this Niti Aayog thing. So I made these from Atish Mathur sir's note. So if you will see his notes, Niti Aayog ka surname is given a very big page. But this is just the glimpse of it. What are the cases I'm going to write? Panchayat banks के बारे में is told about कि नीति आयोग की वजह से there is financial inclusion in the Panchayat Bank of Jharkhand. So this is a very big kind of a statement, example और ये सब करके, but we have shortened it. Just वो देख देख के you are able to realize कि अच्छा ये सारी चीजें needs to come in my answer. उनका अगर नीति आयोग का any question is going to come, your major crux, what are going to be the arguments for, arguments against, argument, basic structure of Niti Aayog, what does it do, what does it cater to people, वो सारा आपके दिमाग में हो जाएगा by the time your first revision is done and your second revision is done. These notes are useful for your third revision and जब तुमको ये सब value addition के लिए याद करना होगा, because जैसे GST है, your article should be in your like tip of the tongue. आर्टिकल आना ही आना है क्योंकि आप इंट्रोडक्शन जीएसटी का if you do with article or the amendment जिससे जीएसटी आया है तो it will add value. All these are value addition. One nation, one tax, one market. This phrase you can use in your introduction also, in your conclusion also. So these are fodder kind of material or value addition वाले notes होते हैं, जो short note होते हैं, which you are making in the very end. Freebies वाला also. See, freebies में we know एक तो केस याद कर लिया, एक CAG का डेटा है, could remember, then FRBM टारगेट है, अरुणाचल का ये है, जम्मू कश्मीर का ये है. We can just मतलब उसको glance करके you are able to realize कि ये हर एक कीवर्ड इसमें शॉर्ट नोट्स में इधर देयर इज कीवर्ड ऑफ बजट बोरोइंग इज अ कीवर्ड. यू कैन जस्ट इलैबोरेट दिस आल्सो, बट तुम अगर उसको सिर्फ ऑफ बजट बोरोइंग लिख देते हो तो इट्स अ कीवर्ड फॉर यू. देन देयर इज डेटा. दिस एफआरबीएम दिस थिंग इज अ डेटा, सीएजी का डेटा है. So in your last minute notes, everything has to be just data and value addition that you're going to do. And you need to keep in mind that every other information is already there in your head. Every other information is already feeded, and you'll be able to generate points that you're going to do through active recall and brainstorm, which we'll talk about a little later. Same here, जैसे cooperative societies है. So what are cooperative society, article part 9, ये सब हो गया. And last में the right side में, if you could see, I've written transparency, accountability, governance. If there is any question why we are making cooperative society, तो उसका advantage है. Advantage, you will not exam में directly, you will not just write TP, but this is a short note. You will remember just कि हाँ ये 4 keyword है which are going to come. Then on the left I've written Amul, Lijjat, Indian Coffee House, Sahyadri Farms. This I can write either as a case. मतलब अगर cooperative society पे कुछ question आया है, I want to highlight the advantage of cooperative society. So I will write Kerala Cooperative Society has done so and so and been accountable and transparency it has maintained, or it has generated employment. So I am not going to write in my last notes the details of it. Details are already there in my head. Amul, I know where is it, what are the advantages of it. I am just writing the keywords that वो कोऑपरेटिव सोसाइटी के तुरंत आई एम एबल टू लिंक केरला कोऑपरेटिव बैंक्स है, तुरंत आई एम एबल टू लिंक इंडियन कॉफी हाउस है. वी जनरली टेंड टू लर्न जस्ट अमूल और लिज्जत, तो हमें याद रहता है. बट दीज 3 other examples are very important. And then Sahyadri Farms was very important last year. It was there in news. Maharashtra mein, it is a very good cooperative society that is working. So it is your value addition that you are going to do in your last minute notes. एक कुछ लोग छोटे छोटे पेज पे बनाते हैं. You can make it any which ways, but मतलब if you would see each and every noted down the value addition points, and in the third revision when you are going to do revise all the subjects in the last 10 days, so you cannot revise your bigger notes. वो आपके दिमाग पे भी it is going to create a pressure, क्योंकि जितने बड़े notes होते हैं आपका मन उतना रिवाइज करने में करता है. You are like कि मैं पूरे पूरे statement पढ़ लूँ, then you will not be able to read that. So that is why these notes come very handy to you. And similarly, if you scroll down, so all these notes are that way only. राज्य सभा का मेन क्या है, आर्टिकल हमको याद करना है, बिल कौन पास करता है, if you know any important case related to राज्य सभा, if you know any important value addition that you can add to a राज्य सभा question, all that thing is there with examples. And these are very short, like if you see half page में एक एक topic पे notes है. So that is all about note making. How do you integrating your notes from different sources? One thing, do not like go over the board. If you think that you have read one topic from one source, just suffice with it and just do value addition in it. Do not keep on finding कि static का जैसे citizenship notes है. If you think कि citizenship के, if you glance through, you find कि अच्छा इसमें सब कुछ cover हो रहा है, तो you just stick to it. Do not jump from one book to other, because जो इसमें लिखा होगा citizenship का आर्टिकल चेंज नहीं होगा, citizenship का एक्ट चेंज नहीं होगा, it will be the same. Part 2 इसमें अगर लिखा है कि आर्टिकल 5 to 11 है citizenship, तो if you are going to refer to other sources, उसमें भी सेम ही बात लिखी है, बस अलग लैंग्वेज में लिखी है. सो यू नीड टू बी वेरी श्योर कि अगर एक स्टैटिक कोई नोट्स उठा लिए हैं, यू गोइंग टू स्टिक बाय इट नो मैटर व्हाट. You just have to keep integrating current affairs. If any current event is coming, जैसे citizenship का NRC कुछ आ रहा है, असम में जब हुआ था 2019 में, so that was a current thing that you had to pick up. अभी कुछ आ रहा है, मतलब if you think there is any update, लोकसभा में, राज्यसभा में कुछ हुआ है, कुछ केस आया है, that you update from your current, but do not मतलब mix your notes from different sources. एक टॉपिक पे एक सोर्स से ही नोट्स बनाने हैं, 50 सोर्सेज यूज नहीं करनी है. So like these questions are there. Indian Constitution, in the Indian Constitutional framework, citizenship is governed by Article 1511 Citizenship Act. What I'll do, this is detailed note, and ये 3 लाइन का है. What I'll do, मुझे लग रहा है इसमें सिर्फ एक चीज जो मेन काम किया I'll do in my introduction is I'll write Article 5 to 11 Part 12 Citizenship Act 1955. That is important that I need to learn. बाकी whatever is the question I'll mold my introduction based on that. और ये value addition I'll do. So this is a short note I'll take from here. Then acquisition and renunciation. Acquisition के 5 ways है. Birth. So this thing for mains you remember until unless there is some very major event that is happening related to citizenship. जैसे जब NRC था then it was very important क्योंकि काफी डिबेट चल रहा, काफी न्यूज में चल रहा था. देन यू हैड टू नो उसका डिटेल्स कि हमारे उसमें बर्थ के क्या डेट से क्या डेट तक है, क्या सब कुछ है. बट दिस ईयर यू नो कि कुछ ऐसे सिटीजनशिप का नहीं चल रहा है. इट इज नॉट कमिंग एवरी डे इन द न्यूज कि आज ये अमेंडमेंट हुआ, आज वो हुआ. सो हियर यू कैन जस्ट रिमेंबर एक्विजिशन 5 तरीके से होती है. दैट इज इनफ फॉर यू. You need to be little smart in that way also. तो इसमें I'll just remember acquisition का circle बना लिया and make 5 वो diagram जैसा birth, descent, registration, naturalization, incorporation. But remember जैसे RPA का क्वेश्चन आया था 25 में, बट RPA was in news. क्लीमेंसी का आया था, बहुत डिटेल में क्वेश्चन ने पूछी थी डिटेल्स उसकी because it was in news. Similarly if citizenship is in news then your notes will look like birth के ये जो 5 पॉइंट है, ये birth के जो 3 पॉइंट्स है, you try to remember those dates also. Those dates will also become as your value addition if only and only if this is in news. Otherwise you can just skim through. And acquisition के 5 part, renunciation के जो 3 ways है, just their heading details you know. renunciation क्या होता है ये तुमको पता है, termination क्या होता है तुमको generally पता है, you can write. So your short notes will be just कि renunciation लिखा 3 point लिखे. Then CA and RC it was in news earlier, अभी नहीं है, so you can skim through this. We can go to other topic as well. Amendments and basic structure. So this is one important topic which is there in news at all times. So amendment में सबसे पहला you need to remember is article. ये question देख लिया आपने for your references what kind of questions are coming. That is just that important. उसके बाद you just remember article 368. In your short note you will write just that it is article 368. And then this flow chart you can have in your short notes because this flow chart you can draw. This will give you at least half mark या 1 mark भी extra मिलेगा, so it will be valuable for you. This flow chart you can have in your short notes. Then amendment procedure. We read amendment procedure 1000 times in our prelims also. उसको 50 बार हम याद करते हैं. So it should be ingrained in your memory. तो जो mains के आपके notes बनेंगे, mains के notes में just this diagram should be able to suffice and make you recall each and every provision of it. मतलब इसके you will not make short notes out of it because this is something expected out of you that you have given prelims, so you know all the provisions. तो जो basic चीजें हैं, basic चीजों के you will not make notes. But you will make notes of significance because significance is not something that you're reading for prelims. So significance, then here everything is already highlighted, I think. ठीक है, significance is that it is a living document. That is just going to go in your main notes, जो आप short notes बनाओगे. And examples. If you could find any example in any of the क्वेश्चन टॉपिक, अगर आपको स्टेटमेंट के साथ एग्जांपल रेडीमेड मिल रहा है, जस्ट यूज दैट, पुट दैट इन योर नोट्स. एंड सिमिलरली जस्ट फॉर छोटा छोटा सोशल इंजीनियरिंग 1/3 अमेंडमेंट 10% रिजर्वेशन टू ईडब्ल्यूएस. दैट इज हाउ योर शॉर्ट नोट्स विल बी. एंड दीज नोट्स आर ऑलरेडी वेरी लिमिटेड. ऐसे बहुत फालतू की इंफॉर्मेशन नहीं है इसमें. इट इज नॉट दैट मल्टीपल स्टेटमेंट से एक्सप्लेन करे तुमको. These are already very short notes, so you can highlight in this also. And there are people like me जिनको खुद से लिखा हुआ ज्यादा convenient लगता है, so you can write down that as well. So whatever you feel comfortable, but be very cautious of the fact that जैसे इसमें तो there are just 5, 5, 6, 6 points, but in some questions, in some topics, there are 10, 10, 12, 12 points. But you know कि तुम 10-12 पॉइंट तो नहीं लिख पाओगे एग्जाम में. मतलब इट इज नॉट ह्यूमनली पॉसिबल कि तुम 12-12 पॉइंट्स लिख रहे हो किसी भी टॉपिक के लिए. तो यू सेलेक्ट इन योर कोर नोट्स कि ये 6 पॉइंट्स मुझे ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट लगते हैं रिलेटेड टू अदर्स. तुमको खुद से पढ़ोगे तो यू विल बी एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड. इतना समझ आ जाता है एक लेवल के बाद, ठीक है. तो जस्ट राइट दोस 6 important points. Do not try to copy कि मैं एक टॉपिक पे 12-12, 15-15 टॉपिक्स मतलब पॉइंट्स बना लूं. इट इज इम्पोर्टेंट दैट कोचिंग एंड देयर रिसोर्स मटेरियल वो प्रोवाइड करे आपको, क्योंकि दे नेवर नो कि किस डायमेंशन में क्वेश्चन आएगा, मल्टीपल पॉइंट्स आर रिक्वायर्ड. बट जब आप अपने नोट्स बना रहे हैं तो बी वेरी कॉशियस कि कुछ पॉइंट तो नेचुरली है जो आ जाएंगे, हम लिख लेंगे. शुडंट बी कॉपिंग द फिलर kind of topics in your notes, but only the most important six arguments for or against that you feel are very important. Just write those in your main notes from this. Yeah, foreign policy. So these are like, I think I was reading through these foreign policy के notes, India US relations also. These are already very comprehensive. मतलब ये छोटे ही है, इनमें और तुमको कुछ छोटा और कर नहीं सकते हो. So I feel that these are fine. You need not maintain your own notes. जैसे एक एक लाइन में इसमें और क्या छोटा कर लोगे. मतलब there is nothing that you need to reduce more. But in notes में what you have to see is IR में especially, because the notes that are provided here are about each and every country's relations and सब चीज है. So here you need to understand थोड़ा IR में what is actually going on in the news. So news में आ रहा है, focus more on those topics and a little bit less on those topics which are not in news. जैसे अभी India US तो is always in news. India US, India Russia, ये India Middle East because of the war and everything. So these are some important topics. IR में you need to identify the more relevant topics, more topics which are in current than the topics which are not, मतलब अभी न्यूज में नहीं चल रहे. जैसे इंडिया नेपाल might not be, India Nepal, India Bhutan might not be that important as India US. So these are already, I think, a very fine if you want, because I also did IR. I did directly from the notes only. मतलब I didn't make short notes for IR because वो पहले ही बहुत comprehensive थे and there are a lot of these defense economic. One thing that you can make short notes of if you want is how to recall them. जैसे किसी भी देश का अगर हमको पढ़ना है IR में, so in every nation there are some key areas जैसे defense, economic, political, people to people ties, military engagements. So these are the keywords and headers that you can keep in your mind. And अगर तुमको जैसे 5 headers हैं, ठीक है, in these 5 headings you have to remember just two points. So you already have 10 points of cooperation with any nation. So that way you can have your like brainstorming or recalling in your head instead of making short notes out of it. Because मतलब ये वाला जैसे स्ट्रैटेजिक इंडो पैसिफिक ग्लोबल गवर्नेंस आईएमसी ऑर्डर, मतलब इसका और क्या छोटा बनाओगे अपना नोट्स. सो इट्स फाइन दैट यू डू इट फ्रॉम हियर आल्सो इफ पॉसिबल फॉर यू. बस प्रायोरिटी बेसिस रखना है. जैसे इसमें MNOP इतने सारे पॉइंट्स हैं, तो हियर यू नीड टू बी लिटिल बिट कॉशियस कि इतने पॉइंट्स में याद नहीं करूं, 4 याद के लिए, 5 याद के लिए, दैट इज मोर देन एनफ फॉर यू. डू नॉट कीप ऑन लर्निंग, ये भी कर लो, ये भी कर लो, ये भी कर लो, कैसे याद करूं. बी लिटिल प्रैक्टिकल कि मेन एग्जाम में मैं 6 पॉइंट से ज्यादा नहीं लिख पाऊंगी. 6 लिखे, 1 पॉइंट में फालतू खुद ही बना लूंगी वहां पे. सो इट इज जस्ट इनफ फॉर यू. सो यू रिमेम्बर जस्ट दैट. जैसे कि हर टॉपिक का एक केस होता है, केसेस जनरली यू टेंड टू मिक्स अप. मतलब मेरे केस में स्पेशली होता था कि आई नॉट बी एबल टू रिकॉल कि ये वाला केस किस वाले से रिलेटेड था. सो इन अ लॉट ऑफ क्वेश्चंस आई हैव रिटन केसेस विद ईच टॉपिक. अब जैसे ये वाला कंट्रीब्यूशन ऑफ फाउंडिंग मदर्स, ये जनरली स्टैटिक टॉपिक नहीं है, बट उस दैट ईयर आई थिंक CJI हैज सेड समथिंग अबाउट फाउंडिंग मदर्स एंड आई थिंक कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के कुछ ईयर्स हो रहे थे. सो दिस वाज वन इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक दैट वाज कमिंग अक्रॉस टेस्ट. मतलब आई वाज गिविंग ऐसे टेस्ट पेपर्स जो आते हैं प्रीलिम्स के बाद, I was looking at those texts. So I think 2 या 3 tests में this question was there, contribution of founding mothers. So I made these very short notes out of it. These names should come, especially I had highlighted the names: Sarojini Naidu, Durgabai Deshmukh, Hansa Mehta, Renuka Rai. तो I know कि 4-5 नाम तो मुझे लिखने ही है अपने आंसर में, and just relating एक वर्ड में उनमें उन्होंने क्या बोला, and these are after a lot of revision. मतलब 2 बार याद कर लिए मैंने अच्छे से, उसके बाद ये नोट्स बनाए. सो आई नो डायरेक्टली कि कौन किसके साथ है. मतलब आई कैन टेल रेणुका रे UCC में है. सो दीज आर लास्ट मिनट काइंड ऑफ नोट. फिर लेजिस्लेटिव में क्या, एजुकेशन, मतलब इफ यू सी सरला शायरा शाह, only I can decipher and decode these notes. You will not be able to understand कि इसमें क्या कहना क्या चाह रहे हैं. But these are very short notes because I've already read it. I've read it 2 times, then it has become. Similarly, this criminalization of politics. If you'll make proper notes out of it, at least 4 पेज के notes बनेंगे इसमें. But because these are last minute, इसमें सब कुछ cover कर रहा है. These are covering causes, impacts, and but if you see, I've written just 4 causes. These are the 4 or 5 major causes. Causes में 50 चीजें आ सकती हैं कि क्यों criminalization हो रहा है politics के. But I feel कि 4 points are good enough. important points है, these are supported by some or the other data या फिर article या फिर कोई act से supported है. So I feel कि ये 4 important points है, तो these are going to be in my final note. Similarly on the impact part also. So whatever you feel कि उसके साथ important point है, these are supported by some data, these are going to be in your final notes. Yeah, this 2023 question also, I think. The Constitution of India is a living instrument with capabilities of enormous dynamism. So first thing that should come to your mind is that I need to decipher this statement and describe what the examiner is trying to say here. First thing, तो आपका introduction में immediately should come to your mind that I have to describe it in 2 lines at least in my own words what they are going to say. The Constitution is a living instrument with capabilities of enormous dynamism. मतलब it is a living instrument that it is evolving and there are dynamism, there are the dynamism in terms of fundamental rights, in terms of DPSP, in terms of like we have a very huge constitution. So dynamism here you can interpret in multiple ways. So that you will describe that in your 2 lines. Constitution made for a progressive society. How now you have to tell a bit how it is a constitution made for a progressive society. Matlab that the society is evolving and in that sense a constitution is also evolving and how it is evolving through multiple amendments. You can refer to any amendment over here. Okay? Illustrate with special reference to the expanding horizon of the right to life and personal liberty. Now the question has come to a very particular point that you have to describe what right to life and personal liberty. Here you need to go broad. See, first statement is already in itself very, very broad. So you can take that liberty of going in multiple directions. It is talking about amendment, it is talking about evolution, and finally it is talking about right to life and personal liberty. We know it is under Article 21, life and personal liberty, and you also know 21A wala education wala is there, and 21 mein, if I'm not wrong, there are multiple case studies that are there. There are multiple case laws that are there. Life ka, I think that I'm not able to recall all the cases, but ki राइट टू लाइफ में एनवायरनमेंट भी आता है, राइट टू ब्रीथ फ्री, तुमको हैंडकफ्स नहीं लगाएंगे, ऑल दोस केसेस आर देयर. सो these are going to come. मतलब here you need to brainstorm your case laws particularly. Even if you're not sitting and writing properly, even if you do not want to like go कि मैं लिखूं पूरा 2 पेज कैसे भरूं, just think कि इसमें क्या क्या लिख सकते हैं. What are my horizons? Like case law लिख सकते हैं कि इसमें कोई आर्टिकल आएगा. Will there be any statement that is said by CJI और किसी ने कुछ बोला है? What can be the introduction of it? Just think about from your notes, try to relate what is the introduction that I'm going to write. Relate from your this thing, what is the conclusion can I do from Right to Life? Is there any movie on it? Because Right to Life, there are a lot of movies also as far as I can recall. So is there any movie on it? Can I conclude with that? So just brainstorming is nothing but thinking. Thinking what is to be written, what is the demand, what it is going to ask and in which direction we are supposed to go. So citizen charter, this question might not even need brainstorming because citizen charter is such topic which is there at all times. मतलब उसके कोई transparency accountability ये नहीं हो रहा, वो update नहीं कर रहे, मतलब these are very core चीजें which are always there. But in such questions you need to also understand कि कुछ जैसे citizen charter हर साल का हर दूसरे साल आना है and it is a very static topic. उसमें you try to Google search or do something कि कोई case है क्या? Is there any state, anything? जैसे as far as I can recall, I think Meghalaya has social accountability or something related to citizen charter. So that has also become a very cliche thing. But if there is any organization, if there is any particular district जिसने citizen charter बनाया है and they have updated it, अब लोगों को कुछ benefit हुआ है. छत्तीसगढ़ में I think related to PDS it is there. So learn that case. And whenever there's a question citizen charter, एक box बना के अलग से do that case study of citizen charter. This things have happened. So in these core cliche kind of questions also, you try to add some extra value. Either show that extra value, मतलब जो example में तो लिखोगे कि transparency यहाँ हुई, accountability यहाँ हुई, आधार में हुई, ये हुई, उसमें हुई. But if there is one case that you can come up with citizen charter, which is very important, make a box, do write case study and write it explicitly alag se. Global examples as see Estonia. This thing I've never read, or this is not a very मतलब prominent examples है, घिसा पिटा example नहीं है which everyone is writing. This is a new thing that I have seen, मतलब at least मैंने तो नहीं पढ़ा था citizen charter में ये चीज. So this you can use as a case study. ऐसे box बनाया corner में, write it as a case study. Because मानो ना मानो ये सारी बातें हैं, everything is out there, but not a lot of people are able to do it. वो एकदम से click नहीं होता है that I'll write Estonia in a bracket. So that kind of a thing. Here you can pick up a lot of global examples and some Indian examples, but pick up only those that you can write. ऐसे कुछ ऐसा यही प्रॉब्लम होती है ऐसे टॉपिक्स में जिसमें देयर इज अ लॉट ऑफ कंटेंट, यू आर नॉट एबल टू प्रायोरिटाइज कि लिखना क्या है. सो इन दोज क्वेश्चंस जैसे सिटीजन चार्टर है, प्रायोरिटाइज योर 7-8 पॉइंट्स एंड इंश्योर कि वो बेस्ट पॉइंट्स यू आर प्रायोरिटाइजिंग. देन जब पॉइंट्स तो लिख लिया, ट्रांसपेरेंसी के अलावा यू विल नॉट बी एबल टू राइट एनी अदर वर्ड, बट पिक अप एन एग्जांपल व्हिच इज unique and different from others, where the transparency has been maintained. You think of it, I think there are a lot of information already available here. So pick up a unique example for transparency from here, so that your answer become a little bit different from the other person. If you could do citizen charter में that diagram also, not the usual diagram that the other people are doing, one diagram if you could do, so that will add value to your answer.
Brainstorming versus full length versus sectional test, order of these above ones with respect to time and number of days. This is a good question, Surabhi.
Okay, so this brainstorming versus full length versus sectional test, one thing I would suggest is you keep doing brainstorming as and when you find any question. मतलब आपको अगर शाम में से बैठे हैं, आपको लगा है कि हो गया आज के PYQ, I'll not be able to write because prelims और mains के टाइम में there is very limited time जब आप नहीं लिख पाओगे पूरे पूरे आंसर्स कुछ. सो मेक इट अ हैबिट कि एटलीस्ट रात में आधे घंटे, डोंट डू इट फॉर अ वेरी लॉन्ग टाइम इफ यू डोंट हैव, तो आधे घंटे बैठ के यू जस्ट ब्रेनस्टॉर्म 4-5 क्वेश्चन कि इसमें क्या 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 लिखना था. एंड फुल लेंथ वर्सेस सेक्शनल टेस्ट, सो इट डिपेंड्स एंटायरली हाउ यू हैव मेड योर रिविजन चार्ट, मतलब तुम कितना लिख पा रहे हो. फुल लेंथ टेस्ट में स्टार्ट विद राइटिंग फुल लेंथ test. अगर prelims clear हो रहा है, you are expecting that you will be writing your mains, start with writing full length test. Check for 2-3 things. One, are you able to complete your paper? If you're able to complete your paper, then check your structure. How are you writing? Are you writing big points? Are you able to generate new points? Are you able to generate points and then solutions, then example? Are you writing in that particular order? If these two conditions are fulfilled, then you can go for just brainstorming as well. मतलब ये है, मेरे दिमाग में ये था मेनली कि मेरे पास अगर कंटेंट है और चीजें हैं तो मेरा लिख जाता है. मतलब मुझे वो प्रॉब्लम नहीं थी कि मेरे से पेपर कंप्लीट नहीं हो रहा, वो नहीं आ रहे, पॉइंट्स नहीं बन रहे, क्या जनरेट नहीं हो रहा. तो दिस वाज माय पर्सनल अंडरस्टैंडिंग कि मेरे से ये हो जा रहा है. दैट इज आई जंप टू ब्रेनस्टॉर्मिंग मेनली कि नाउ आई नीड टू जस्ट एक्टिवली रिकॉल इन माय हेड दैट दिस टॉपिक, दिस पॉइंट आई एम गोइंग टू राइट सप्लीमेंटेड विद दिस एग्जांपल ऐसे करके. सो this you need to prioritize. अगर आपकी मतलब because brainstorming only will not help अगर आपका पेपर ही कंप्लीट नहीं हो रहा, आपकी स्पीड ही स्लो है और मैं बोलूँ आपकी खाली ब्रेनस्टॉर्म करते जाओ तो फ्लो गलत हो जाएगा आपके साथ. मतलब दिस इज ऑल्सो योर स्ट्रेंथ एंड वीकनेस दैट यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड कि कहाँ पे वर्क कर रही है, कहाँ पे वर्क नहीं कर रही है, एंड बेस्ड ऑन दैट यू नीड टू टेक अ कॉल. First thing that I thought of कि can I have of all the things that I had learned for जैसे हम पढ़ते हैं ना कि ये एग्जाम्पल्स है, ये यूनिक एग्जाम्पल है, ये कुछ है, तो आई हैड फर्स्ट थिंग दैट आई हैड इन माय माइंड व्हाट विल बी माय इंट्रोडक्शन. डू आई हैव अ स्टोरी एंड अ वेरी कॉन्शियस एफर्ट दैट आई विल नॉट यूज एनी महाभारत रामायण और ना ये जो क्लीशे मतलब अशोका बुद्धा गांधी, आई विल नॉट यूज दैट एट ऑल. जैसे इंट्रोडक्शन से कंक्लूजन तक लेके मतलब आई विल नॉट यूज दैट. तो वो बहुत एक कॉन्शियस एफर्ट यू हैव टू पुट इन कि ये नहीं यूज करना है. एंड देन यू हैव टू थिंक ऑफ व्हाट विल बी योर स्टोरी लाइन इनिशियली बिकॉज इंट्रोडक्शन डज हैव अ लॉट ऑफ इम्पैक्ट. सो हियर बिकॉज आई हैड रेड मतलब एंड यू हैव टू कीप योर माइंड ओपन ऑल्सो कि आपने कुछ पढ़ा है कहीं पे, तो हाउ आर यू गोइंग टू यूज दैट. फॉर एग्जाम्पल ट्रूथ इज नो कलर, हाउ आई स्टार्टेड वाज आई हैड रेड एन एसे ऑन environment पे ऐसे था which talked about that within 5 minutes of you reading this much carbon dioxide will be released, this much trees will be cut, this much this thing will be happening. So it was not a story but a fact essay, मतलब trying to create that impact कि तुम्हारे पढ़ते ये हो जाएगा अभी, ठीक है. एंड ट्रूथ इज नो कलर में वो कैसे फिट हुआ, आई थॉट कि आई विल राइट दैट ट्रम्प वाज सेइंग कि नहीं होता, देन ब्राजील का पर्सन वाज सेइंग कि देयर इज नो क्लाइमेट चेंज. सो though multiple people are saying this, that this thing is not happening, but climate change is a truth which has no color, it has no shade, it is a fact as stated by multiple scientific sources. Okay, one thing you will brainstorm is what is going to be your storyline, what is going to be your introduction. Then you divide your page into arguments. Why and why not? Because truth has no color has both the sides, and you will divide your page equally into why and why not. You have arguments in support. Argument in support, you just write thinking ki why it has no color, because it's scientific, it is based on facts, it is not manipulated. These are the 3 points that you got. Then you will try to come up with examples. You will randomly write examples that are coming in your mind in the support of that same statement. कहीं से भी. One conscious effort you will make is अगर newspaper में कुछ पढ़ा है, then you will go through your ethics के examples, whatever ethics का examples you have read, because maximum हम वहीं पे करते हैं, and make that conscious effort कि नहीं करना है. So you will just write, note down all the examples that are coming into your head. Then not वाले में you will again brainstorm why it is not true, that why is there a point that truth might have multiple shades. Why में 2-3 पॉइंट आ जाएगी. One thing that I could recall I have written is कि because it depends on how it is conveyed, how it has been taken, and there are multiple other factors that could influence the truth. Because half truth फिर उसमें examples सोचे, you brainstorm all the examples, and you can brainstorm examples from the point of view of this your syllabus approach. एक हिस्ट्री से आया, एक ज्योग्राफी से आया, इफ यू कुड रिकॉल दैट वे, एक आईआर से कुछ आया, एक पॉलिटी से आया, ऐसे करके. मतलब यू हैव अ लॉट ऑफ सब्जेक्ट्स ऑलरेडी इन योर माइंड फ्रॉम वेयर यू कैन हैव, and then make a very conscious effort that you are going to brainstorm your this thing from current affairs. If you have read anything particularly एक दिन पहले, 2 दिन पहले, try to include that, because वही आपके essay में is going to add a new value and new freshness to it. So once you have done this why and why not wala, फिर you have written ऐसे multiple examples, then you fit those examples into your arguments. एक argument करा था, now you have 4-5 example, try to relate. वो जो brainstorm करे ना, उसी में relate कर लो. बाद में मत सोचना कि यहाँ पे ऐसे ना, once you start writing then you think कि अब इसमें कौन सा लिखूं, then it will be problematic for you. जो brainstorm करे उसी में you make sure कि ये argument है, इसके साथ this example I'm going to put, या ये अगर 3-4 भी एग्जाम्पल आ जाते हैं एक आर्ग्यूमेंट के साथ, तो यू नीड टू बी लिटिल कॉशियस कि हाउ आई एम गोइंग टू इंक्लूड ऑल दीज एग्जाम्पल्स विद वन स्टेटमेंट, दैट वन आर्ग्यूमेंट दैट आई हैव. And then you go about into doing this strengths and weaknesses. Well, this is one angle that I added to my essay this year, that why it is difficult for truth to have one shade, that is a strength, and what are the limitations of truth having one color. And then finally you can think of some conclusion. There's some people who are very active, मतलब जिनको lines, someone said something और ऐसी चीजें याद रहती है. Not that person जिसको ये याद रहती है. So it's okay. But if you are able to learn a lot of people कि Nelson Mandela might have said something, या फिर you know कि this person had said something is something, so if you could recall that, you can conclude with that as well.
Sir, ma'am, I had tried to brainstorm an exam, but I couldn't think points. Couldn't think all points necessary on time, but after exam, I could think good points. Sentences, construction, or flow of thoughts also breaks. You want to answer this, Surabhi?
Yeah. So I think it mainly happens when there is lack of revision. So this year, one thing that I did consciously was more than writing or more than doing anything, मतलब content बढ़ाने की जगह, in short, कि जितना मेरे पास है, first I learned that thoroughly. So one thing very important is that your revision should be very very solid, that your all points are there. वो जो कहते हैं ना, बहुत मुश्किल होता है एक्टिव रिकॉल करना, शाम को जाके रोज पढ़ना, रोज रिवाइज करना कि आज क्या पढ़ा है. That is मतलब बिलीव मी, दैट इज द मोस्ट डिफिकल्ट थिंग टू डू, बिकॉज आपका ब्रेन हमेशा बोलता रहेगा कि अभी ये नहीं करा, ये नहीं करा, अभी ये वाले पॉइंट्स और लिख लो, ये वाला टॉपिक और कवर कर लो. बट इट विल रन अवे फ्रॉम द फैक्ट कि मैं शाम को जाके वापस जो आज पूरा दिन में क्या जितने फैक्ट्स आज किए उनको याद करूं. सो वन ऑफ द मेजर प्रॉब्लम दैट कम्स जब अच्छे पॉइंट्स याद नहीं आते, इज मेनली बिकॉज रिविजन नहीं है. दूसरा, यू कैन हैव सम टेम्पलेट्स फॉर सम ऑफ द क्वेश्चन. मतलब ये चीजें कॉन्शियसली दिमाग में रखो कि इस क्वेश्चन में विल आई गो बाय स्टेक होल्डर अप्रोच, कि इसमें ज्यादा स्टेक होल्डर्स बन रहे हैं क्वेश्चन में, तो यू कैन गो बाय स्टेक होल्डर अप्रोच. कैन आई गो बाय पेस्टल अप्रोच इन दिस क्वेश्चन? कैन आई गो सिलेबस वाइज इन दिस क्वेश्चन? डू आई हैव टू फिगर आउट पॉइंट्स फ्रॉम डिफरेंट सोर्सेज ऑफ माई टॉपिक? या फिर क्वेश्चन में कुछ ऐसे कीवर्ड हैं क्या जिन कीवर्ड्स को ब्रेक किया जा सकता है, और उस ब्रेक से आई कैन जनरेट 2-3 पॉइंट्स.
ओके, would you be able to quickly tell them 9 months में मेंस का सिलेबस कैसे कवर करना है?
9 months में I feel like you can start with any subject. So at 9 months में you're starting now. Okay. So I feel like you need to give, अगर optional भी साथ में कर रहे हो तो give half your time to your optional. Also depends on कितना optional बल्कि है, कितना time लेता है. But half day to your GS and half day to your optional. Then you can give 2 to 2 months to each subject. I think ethics will be done in 1.5 month only. उसको उतना भी ज़्यादा time नहीं चाहिए. Focus on PYQs in ethics for now when you are covering syllabus for the first time. Do your core static and followed by PYQ. It should take 1.5 month for your ethics part. Then for the GS2 part, it should take 2 months. GS1 should take 2 months. बाकी के लिए you can take 2 months. GS3 के लिए specifically because it is current heavy, so you can do some part for the prelims वाले part के लिए you can be major focused because जो mains वाला perspective आता है, it is coming only for the internal security and agriculture part. The rest all is current based. So there is largely no point of covering your mains of GS3 right now. टू बेसिक टॉपिक्स जो बेसिक बेसिक चीज है, जैसे आई रिमेम्बर इंक्लूसिव ग्रोथ है इन इकोनॉमी वाला पार्ट, तो विच इज अ स्टैटिक काइंड ऑफ अ टॉपिक दैट यू कैन डू नाउ बट लीव मेजरली फॉर प्रीलिम्स के बाद में, तब जब मेंस 365 ये सब आती है तब यू कैन डू दैट.
Wonderful. As absolute beginners, how do they practice active recalling, and like how soon can they start brainstorming?
As a beginner, it is a habit that you should inculcate as soon as possible. मतलब एक्टिव रिकॉलिंग क्या होता है कि आज जो पढ़ा वो याद करना रात में. इट इज नथिंग मोर देन दैट. बट वही मुश्किल चीज है. तो आप पूरे दिन में कुछ तो पढ़ोगे, वॉट एवर यू आर रीडिंग, जिस शाम को जाके सिट विद योरसेल्फ. नो नीड टू राइट इट कि मैं लिख के उसके नोट्स बनाऊं या कुछ बनाऊं. जस्ट सिट विद योरसेल्फ एंड ट्राई टू रिकॉल कि अगर आज मैंने गवर्नर पढ़ा है तो गवर्नर में मैंने क्या क्या पढ़ा है. इधर if you're a बिल्कुल ही beginner, you need not even remember facts. Just remember what are the outlines. Either what are the structure of it, कि किस उसमें आता है, पावर में आता है, कुछ limitations पड़ी थी क्या, क्या major उसकी outline पड़ी थी. So start from the very first day when you start reading it and eventually move on to from recalling page, मतलब उसका overall structure recall करने से you move on to recalling the facts, data, ये सब.
When did you come, like were you sure that brainstorming is your way only? कब आपको कब realize हुआ brainstorming की importance?
It was mainly when mine was mainly out of compulsion हुआ था, क्योंकि because I took a lot of tests. मतलब I took for यहाँ पे because I was an RCA जामिया, तो उन्होंने फोरम के टेस्ट इनरोल करके दिखाए थे. बट उस टाइम पे इनिशियली मुझे लग रहा था ये तो उन्होंने शायद 4 या 5 टेस्ट लगाए थे. आई थॉट ये तो बहुत कम रह जाएंगे, सो आई एनरोल फॉर नेक्स्ट हाईएस्ट टेस्ट एज वेल. फिर उनके 6-7 टेस्ट हो गए, सो आई फेल्ट यार ये तो बहुत ज्यादा हो गए. I couldn't write that and I written 2 या 3 full length tests initially. So I also realized कि मेरा writing style ठीक है, writing structure ठीक है, and I'm able to do that. मतलब मेरा paper proper हो रहा है पूरा. So then I moved on to just brainstorming कि अब इनको सिर्फ question paper देखो, answer सोचो कि क्या लिखना है इसमें. So that was my point of going into this.
Right. And जो आपने stakeholders approach की बात की, pestle etc., किस point पे you realize that इस आंसर में ये approach लगेगी?
I think you will realize it with practice. वो क्वेश्चन देख के आपको समझ आने लगता है. अब किसी क्वेश्चन में है ही नहीं स्टेक होल्डर कुछ, मतलब इन्वायरमेंट का क्वेश्चन है एग्जांपल, तो इन्वायरमेंट क्वेश्चन में यू विल इवेंचुअली से कि हाँ इसमें तो स्टेक होल्डर है, पीपल आर स्टेक होल्डर, गवर्नमेंट इज स्टेक होल्डर, ट्राइबल में एरिया है तो वो है, इन्वायरमेंट खुद है, ट्रीज है, एनिमल्स है, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन विल कम, ये सारी चीजें विल कम. अब देयर इज सम क्वेश्चन ऑन एडवांटेज और डिसएडवांटेज ऑफ ड्रोन्स या हाउ कैन वी यूज ड्रोन्स. तो ड्रोन्स में स्टेक होल्डर उतना शायद इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है, बट ड्रोन्स में पेस्टल अप्रोच लगेगा बिकॉज you can use it in science and tech, you can use it in internal security, you can use for economy. मतलब वो पूरा आपका GS3 का सिलेबस लग जाएगा. You can use it for disaster management. तो आपको थोड़ा क्वेश्चन देख के समझ आएगा वो चीज कि कौन सी चीज कहाँ अप्लाई हो रही है. You will have to practice it a bit.
Perfect. We can take few more questions. Yeah. See, with respect to ethics में पहले PYQ समझ के फिर static करना is a good strategy.
Yeah. No, you should do पहले static, क्योंकि PYQ फिर आपको समझ ही नहीं आएंगे ना कि लिखना क्या है, करना क्या, आपके पास बेसिक ही सोर्स नहीं है करना क्या है. Do your static first, then go for PYQ and then go for other questions.